Welcome back to the rating climb against the chess.com bots. We're up to the 550 ELO with Noel. Wow. And we see h5 right away. Of course, it's not a good move, doesn't control the center. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to continue getting the two pawns in the center. And now he attacks. So I could defend, or I could take advantage of the fact that I could easily push and try to kind of harass the knight. Both are viable strategies. I think I will go ahead this time and take advantage of this kind of wasted move here and just chase this knight around. So let's go with c4. And what I'm trying to do is just get a nice big center, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so that's pretty good. This is already defended by the bishop, so I'm not worried about that. I think I'm just going to develop one of my knights. Don't think it really matters at this point, so I'm just going to pick this one. They both look like good moves, right? This is generally where you want your knights to go to. d5. Okay. So, of course, we have en passant. That's always an option. Then black's probably just going to take. I don't really know how much that benefits me. I do want to consider what happens if I play c5. Does the knight run out of moves? Because it can't go to a4. You can't go here. You can't go here. You can't go there. You could go here, but then I'm going to take. And I have a check with the queen to win a pawn. That looks pretty nice for me. So I suspect the knight has to go back here. And there's a little idea you want to keep in your mind. If your opponent has not moved this pawn, and you have the option to push forward and force a recapture with the f pawn so that you create these doubled pawns in front of the king, that is extremely annoying for black, and a lot of times it's very good for you to do that. And the reason is because once these doubled pawns get here, this bishop is stuck. Like, it's totally stuck, right? Because you need to move this pawn before you can move this bishop, but you can't move that pawn because there's another pawn. So you have to kind of move two pawns just to get one bishop out, and then you can't castle, and your rook is stuck because the bishop's there. It's just like you get all of that for just one pawn. So without even thinking past that, I'm going to go for that line because I think that's a great plan. So he's going to, oh, he just didn't do it, unfortunately. But I was going to play e6, and after the capture, the other thing about that too is it creates weaknesses over here, especially because this pawn had already been moved forward. Notice once that captures this g6 square, I was going to be looking at ideas of bringing the queen, maybe the knight to come in, maybe the bishop, like so many options. Now in this case, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to do this and win a pawn. But yeah, definitely want to keep that idea in mind. Okay, let's just verify. It doesn't seem like I have any better moves, so I'll just go ahead and grab the free pawn. So remember, this queen a4 check idea, we've seen it in the last rating climb as well, where we captured a knight, and now we're seeing it as a way to get a free pawn. So keep that in mind, right? A little check there can come in handy. Okay, so I could play knight g5, and I could threaten checkmate, and I could hope that my opponent doesn't see it. But then I'm playing hope chess, right? And you don't want to play hope chess, because if they do see it, they're going to play a good move like e6, and then my knight is just kind of sitting over there. Now, maybe if I wanted to sacrifice, there could be some thought. Actually, that's not a terrible idea. I could go after here, check. The king moves. I could play this. Yeah, it's not totally crazy. But what I was going to say is I think now I can actually do that idea that I talked about earlier. Sacrifice a pawn to force this and just totally jam up all of black's pieces. So you're going to see what I'm talking about here. Okay, he goes for a check, which is not a good move. And if you guys would like to pause, why is that not a good move? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, here's the thing. I have some serious threats already, okay? The only reason that I can't do them right now is because I have to get out of the check. But if I could block the check and create an attack on that queen, I'm essentially creating a double attack, attacking the queen and attacking the knight and attacking this pawn, and really a triple attack at the same time. So how can I do that? Well, I actually have two good moves. b4 creates an attack there, and bishop d2 creates an attack there. And I'm still going to have this. So that's a very bad move. I'm going to choose the developing move rather than just a random pawn, because it basically accomplishes the same thing. And black has no way to deal with both of these problems. Okay, he chooses to save the queen, and now it's just a decision of which piece do I want to take. This looks good, but not good enough. He's just going to run. I do want a free piece, so let's go ahead and take that with check. Okay, and I'm ahead. Simplifying is good. I don't really see a clear mean, I could consider knight a3, but then do I really want to gambit this? No, probably not. Then I am going to have to deal with defending that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and trade. Remember, when you're up material, right, I have 3 pieces against 2. Trading gets me closer to the end game. So here we go. Let's do it. Okay, and what do I want to do? I want to finish my development. I want to castle. Does the order matter? Not so much. I'll go ahead and castle first. Okay. Not really worried. The only issue is that it is going to mess up my pawn structure, which maybe I don't want to allow that. And so I'll probably play knight to e5, but still going for the opportunity to trade, which is pretty good. So let's go with knight to e5. Okay. And like I said, since I'm way ahead, trading is good. I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to do that. Okay, so what should I be thinking about? Well, I need to finish my development, so definitely knight to c3. Do I have a specific target here? If I could do something like rook e1, not really. Slide the bishop over, but why? I can do something like this, but again, why? I think the most logical thing, develop the piece. Okay, and now I can start to kind of think about how do I want to proceed with attacking and kind of finishing off black. So I'm looking at d5. Probably is going to force a capture. I think I would like my rook to be involved in that. So maybe rook to e1 first. Although after bishop g7, he might take here. Do I care? Not too much. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play d5 first, I guess, just because I want my knight to be able to jump up right away. Okay, he does go bishop g7. But now it's a free pawn, it looks like. Yes, they're doubled, but still, a free pawn is a free pawn. Could also go here, trying to open up the king, but I'm going to just grab the pawn. As you get closer to the end of the game, a lot of times just taking the free pawns is the way to go. Of course, I don't want to capture here. Tripled pawns is not a good look. Let's just do this instead. And okay, so seems like the rooks are not being used. So the question remains, where do I want to put them? Probably here, probably here. I think I'm going to start with the open D file, and then this guy can come here later. Okay, and I'm actually noticing I have an opportunity to push this and maybe even force something bad for black. So yeah, let's actually go ahead and take advantage of that. You know, at the end of the game, if you have passed pawns, you should try to use them. And here we go. Rook here. And not only is that good because I'm going to get a queen, king is trapped. And so that just looks like a checkmate. So there we go. Pretty straightforward game. He's going to have to take me, and I can recapture and get a rook if I want to be fancy and win the game. All right. Let's jump to the next bot. All right, we got black this time. Cool. So it is alternating now. I think I had it set before last episode to just be white, but now we'll get to see some black. All right. So usually I don't like to let them just get 2 pawns in the center, so I will play e5 to kind of fight for that control of the center. Okay? You guys have seen this before. They attack, we defend. Bishop c4. So the Italian game, there are different ways you can approach it. The 2 main ones are knight to f6 and bishop to c5. Knight to f6 will lead to the fried liver if that's what Oliver wants to go for, or something else, but I'm pretty comfortable with this. This is my preferred way to handle it, so I'll play knight f6 here. Aha, and maybe Oliver is going for the fried liver. So I think, we could play the Traxler. We could play, there's all kinds of gambits here that you could play. The main move is, of course, d5. Yeah, I think I will. I'll just stick with the main move here, d5. We'll see what Oliver's going to do, if he's going to follow the main one. Ooh. Wow, I thought we were going to have a decent game here. No, he just gives us the bishop for free. Well, that's straightforward, right? I mean, a pawn is not as good as a bishop, so we're going to take it. And, oops, sorry about that. Okay, wow. So h4. Of course, we could keep taking. Or we could say, you know what? I'm just going to develop because that's more important. Honestly, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just prioritize development. In these e4, e5 openings, it can be very sharp and tricky. You want to make sure you're developing your pieces quickly. And a lot of times I will value that more than a random pawn like this. It's just getting those pieces out quickly is so valuable. Okay, we're about to get checkmated. Should I defend by castling? Should I defend by bishop e6? Or should I play queen e7? What do you guys think? All right, that was a trick question. I'm not supposed to defend anything. Look at the queen. It's a free queen. We're going to take the queen, right? That's how we defend the checkmate. So hopefully you didn't say one of those other moves. Always look for the easy free queens first. Okay, now we're up a queen, so any kind of trading is good. I also want to keep developing, so I'm thinking about bishop g4. Ooh, queen d4. Checkmate. Attacks the rook. That actually looks like a very nice tactic now that I'm looking at that. So maybe that's the best thing. Let's just go with that. Big threats here. Big threats. Okay, he blocks one, but he doesn't stop the other one. So here we go. And I'm afraid Oliver is in big trouble here. All right, so we could take the rook. Of course, that looks very good. I'm also thinking about check with the bishop. He could block. So it doesn't quite lead to checkmate immediately. So yeah, we'll go ahead and take the rook first. There's going to be checkmate to follow here, really regardless of which way we did it. All right, and now we just have to find the checkmate. So knight? That's checkmate, isn't it? Because the queen is controlling, and then, yeah, that's it. There you go. So d4. All right, good game to Oliver. Let's go to the next one. Milica. All right, we're going to play e4 again. Try to get 2 pawns in the center if we can. She stops us. Okay, so we are going to have to do something else. Now, we can still go there and play the Danish gambit, but I'm going to play knight f3. Stick with the more usual stuff here, attacking the pawn. Okay, she defends. Very good. And let's play a Scotch game, and maybe we'll turn it into a Scotch gambit. This is the Scotch, and usually they'll take the pawn. Good. And we have the option here to play what's called a Scotch gambit, which I like. And it goes back to what I mentioned in the last game of you don't always have to just take pawns because they're there. You can prioritize developing your pieces. And a lot of times you get more powerful threats by doing that than if you just always grab these pawns. So I'm going to play bishop c4, Scotch gambit. And we'll see how she... Yeah, this is one of the good moves. And again, there's a pawn, but do I want to worry about it? I could just castle. And I'm prioritizing, instead of worrying about all the pawns, I'm focusing on my development, and I'm getting ready to attack. And she does take it. Okay. So here we go. Rook to e1. This is actually a well-known line. So this is not bad for black. It is dangerous, and you have to know exactly what you're doing. But we'll see. I don't think Milica is going to know what to do. But I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of this, pinning the knight. She has to play d5 here. Oh, she does. Okay. But yeah, d5 is a good move because it defends the knight and also lets out some pieces. So the line here, and I know this one just because I've played this before, but if you actually, I'm going to let you guys pause here. What do you think I should play here? There's a couple of moves that are okay, but there's one in particular that is kind of cool. Why to play? What do you think the move is? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, as far as I know, there's two main options. You can play bishop here to pin this, or this is what I like to do. You sacrifice here, allowing the queen to dance. She does. Perfect. And why did we want to do that? Can you see the follow-up? Get a chance to look at that. It's knight to c3. And what we're doing is saying, look, this knight's pinned, so that can't take us. And if the pawn takes us, then the queen is just sitting there to be captured for free. So really, black doesn't want to take our knight. And once the queen moves, because we're going to take the queen, then we're going to take this, right? So that's the idea. And it's like I said, it's a well-known line. So a lot of people have studied this. Oof. And normally what happens is the queen moves away to one of these two squares. Then you grab the knight, and the game goes on. But in this case, I'm, of course, going to take the free queen. So Milica was playing well there right up until bishop d6, blundered the queen. Okay, always be scanning for free pieces, and we're going to take the knight. Okay, rook b8, does it do anything? No, I don't think so. Again, scanning for free pieces. Nope, I see a pawn. So I could do that, or I could, like I said before, focus on developing. In this case, not really sure what the bishop's going to do there. So I think in this case, I will actually take this. I also like that it unleashes my queen. So there's multiple things that I'm thinking about there. Okay, which way do we want to take? Which way? I'm going to take... They both look pretty good. I'm going to take with the rook, only because I like that my queen can just zip over here. Wow. Not a great move. Of course, there's no follow-up. I don't really have to think too much. We'll take the bishop. Okay, and let's go ahead and actually set up a little checkmate thread here. So rook is going to come over. And, all right, well, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take with the queen to get my queen involved. Perfect. I wanted to show you guys this mating pattern here. So there is a checkmate in 1, 2, 3 moves if you would like to pause. It's a forced checkmate in 3 moves. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, there actually might be multiple checkmates here. Oh, actually, I just saw one in 2 moves. Okay, so yeah, there's lots of checkmates. 2 moves would be, I guess, the fastest. You could go knight here, check, and the king goes in the corner, and you take it checkmate. So that's definitely one. You could also try something like this, but that's not going to be a forced checkmate. Black could play g6, and it's going to take a few more moves before you could get the checkmate. So yeah, this one would definitely be the fastest. But the one that I wanted to show you guys is kind of a unique and interesting one, and it starts with knight to e7 check. And what you're doing is, it's kind of like a back rank checkmate, except instead of it being on the back rank, it's on the side. And so notice how I'm positioning my knight to control these squares. And I want you to think about this. And how can I get the king to be vulnerable in that direction? Well, now I can sacrifice my rook. And look at what we've accomplished. Boom, boom. And now it's like you can see how it's a back rank mate, except it's on the side of the board. We simply slide our queen over, and there's the checkmate. So I just wanted to point that out because that's one that you don't see all the time, but it is good to kind of keep in the back of your mind. That being said, like I mentioned, the faster way to do it would have been knight to f6. And there's probably a couple of other ways to get checkmate from this position as well. All right. That's going to do it for this video. Next time we'll pick up on, let's see, what is the next? Yeah, 700 bots will be next time. So we're starting to get into the more interesting games. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.